I don't think anybody gets training, in this type, and I've had oncologists tell me this, I went to medical school and I specialized and I trained in oncology. I don't know anything about reproductive health. I'm not comfortable talking about these types of issues when, I don't know about them. And still, of course, we know, even among healthcare professionals, sexuality and sex and the use of body parts and intimacy can be uncomfortable for people because of their own values. So what the ENRICH training program also helps nurses to do is to examine their own values. And they have told us that at first they weren't comfortable talking about assisted reproductive technologies because their own values were that they didn't support it and they didn't believe it. And they've come to realize now that patients should have this information, and it's patients' choice to make these decisions about this information. And also, I think in general, the more stories that we hear about cancer patients preserving fertility or making the conscious choice not to, and the subsequent children that are born or the difficulty that they had in conceiving or adopting, the more stories that are out there, it helps kind of normalize it. Because when I first started doing this and was talking with patients about it, I said, some of the options are if you're, because you have a gynecologic cancer and your cervix is going to be removed and you may ultimately have your uterus removed, you can still, retrieve eggs and store eggs or embryos, but you would have to use a gestational carrier. And they'd be like, what? What the heck is that? I've never heard of anybody doing that. But since that time, many celebrities have come out and talked about, their journeys outside of cancer with using gestational carriers, and it's becoming a little bit more normalized that it doesn't sound so crazy. And so I think that that's part of the issue for the healthcare providers, that this is not quite there yet, that it's everyday conversation, that this is how babies are born.